NRL Fantasy Pods round 2, 500 to 600k. So we're getting into a bit of value here. And Turtles, I'm going to start this hot. I have the most unhinged justification for Brad and Best. You want to hear it?
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's go.
All right. Other than having talked about him for the last 2 years. Now, Herbie Farnworth, the greatest fantasy center of all time, but very, very expensive. Now, Herbie Farnworth 2 years ago was 24 years old. When Herbie Farnworth was 24 years old, he averaged 47 points. After that, he jumped from 47 to 55 and then 63. Bradman Best is 24 years old as well. So the same age Herbie was when he averaged 47. Bradman Best averaged 46 last year. Now, does that mean that Bradman Best at 24 is equal to Herbie Farnworth and going to continue on the same curve? No, it doesn't mean that. But does it mean that I can make that case right now? I think it does.
You weren't joking when you said unhinged. Bradman Best the pod. It's interesting. It's interesting. I personally, after hyping in the previous video, after hyping up KO Era, I think I'm going to go down the KO Era path. But Bradman Best, there's something there because Dylan Brown's coming to the team. There's rumors that he's going to be playing the 6. He's got Dylan Lucas and Bradman Best running off the ball of him. So it's very viable. Like, he needs the attacking stats. His work rate needs improvement too. Like, when I'm comparing his tackle breaks to KO Heroes, or then even going up another step further into Herbie Farnworth, I'm like, Bradman Best needs to demand more ball. But the narrative we're pushing here is Dylan Brown comes into the team. He's going to feed him and Lucas better ball. There's going to be more attacking stats available. And with those attacking stats come more tackle breaks, and the rest will come naturally. So there's definitely something there. For me personally, it's a wait and watch, but I don't know. That unhinged spiel might have convinced me.
Well, I can give you some real reasons as well. That was just what I wanted to start with. People know what we're like. But look, Cowboys round 1. I like that round 1 matchup. Big thing though, you talked about Dylan Brown there. You know, Kellen Ponga hopefully fully fit coming to the year. There was a bit of talk about a foot issue. Dylan Lucas in the back row, Bradman Best at center, and Fletcher Sharp potentially on that wing as well. So across the board, it's a very potent wing. And if he flicks even the laziest flick pass to Fletcher Sharp, that guy's just going to score a try every second week because that's what he does, right? Mm-hmm. So for Bradman Best, what you're looking for is attacking upside. And last year, Bradman Best had a try every third game, had a try assist every third game as well. In fact, a little bit less than that for both those stats. So for him, it's 1 in 3 games where he's scoring a try. If that bumps up to 1 in 2, or potentially he goes on a run to start the year where he scores tries in 3 games in a row and grabs a couple of doubles, like, that's where you start seeing that big upside for Bradman Best. Obviously, week to week, it's not consistent, but he is one of those guys who can go 100 plus. And he's one of those guys in round 1 where if I was picking a team just for round 1 against the Cowboys with their fragile edge defense, he'd be one of my first pick players. So I'm tempted just to jump on and just to get a very quick start here, but it is high risk, high reward. Now, guys, you're going to have to make your own calls on Bradman Best. And actually, for everyone watching along, comment below, what do you think Bradman Best will score round 1 against the Cowboys? I might throw a prize together if enough people comment. So let me know what Bradman Best will score in round 1 against the Cowboys. Bold. Now, Jermaine Hopgood. I'll give you some quick numbers here. He has been that 55 to 60 guy in the past. He's priced at a 46, 47. He dominated at prop at the back end of last year. Needs 3 things to happen for him to be viable. 1, big minutes at prop. 2, Junior Paulo to get less minutes and to move into more of an impact role. 3, Jack DeBellin to play that facilitating lock role. And 4, so the first one wasn't really 1. So 4, Jack Williams to stay on the edge back row spot there and not be in the middle forward rotation. If those things happen, Hopgood can be a 60 average, but there's a lot of ifs there. Are you jumping on?
Am I jumping on Jermaine Hopgood? I really liked Jermaine Hopgood for quite a while, and I was pretty keen on him just because of that price point. I know he's a bit of a workhorse. We've seen him do really well before. He has an offload in him as well, and he's one of those players who actually looks for the offload. Basically, every single hit up he does, he's like, "Can I offload this? Should I do it?" And he's like, "Yeah, he'll do it." So he's one of those players, and you want that when you're putting together your fantasy team. The only thing that deterred me often was like, moving into the prop rotation instead of being the lock. But then if you look at the numbers from like the back end of last year, his numbers actually improved at the prop prop position towards the end of last year. So there's definitely a case for him. I feel like we got too many good middles at the moment, but there's a path you can go down to get Jermaine Hopgood. Let's just say for some reason you want to start with Isaiah Yeo and Payne Haas, and you needed a 600k mid to go with it. Jermaine Hopgood's your man. He's there. And then let's just say you wanted to put Toby Cashman in your edge spot or something like the dual position guys, but. He can plug a hole. Like last year, I started with Corey Horsburgh, and I ended up keeping him the entire year, and he ended up getting a decent average throughout the year. He gave me a little bit of value, but it was that reliable mid who just got through his work and got me my points, and I did pretty well. So he could be that guy for you this year.
Hey, big call, big call. Yeah, I'm with you there. I sold him for Couchman, by the way, as well. So not on my side at the moment. Look, if the numbers are good in the preseason, I'll think about it. Now, a couple of Cowboys teammates from last year, Reece Robson and Ruben Cotter. For Robbo, pretty simple case here. Are you a believer in Robbo? Are you a believer in the Rooster system? Do you think he goes back to that attacking footy? When Robbo first burst onto the scene, he had a season where he scored, I think it was 7 tries in 1 year. He's sort of been that 2 or 3 tries guy since then. But you put him in that Roosters side who should be good this year. I don't know. We've seen Connor Watson kill it. We've seen him sort of flop at hooker. There's no guarantees here. And there's also talk that Iolu could be on the bench as well. So there's no guarantee of 80 minutes. This is a very high risk, potentially mediocre reward option here. Probably not someone I'm jumping on, but he's a player I sort of more like the idea of than the actual practicality of. And then Ruben Cotter is the other one to talk about here, and he's actually still on the Cowboys. Has been that 50-plus guy in the past, is down to that 44. Obviously had some, quieter games last year. Queensland hero, which you want to keep pointing out this preseason. So let's hear your thoughts here, because he's always stepped up for Queensland. Does he get it done for the Cowboys this year?
I think he has to, because Robson is gone. Robson was a very stable hooker. He got his tackles in. He worked around the middle defensively. And Reed Marnie's not exactly the same. He's a different type of hooker, Reed Marnie, and more often than not, he runs up really fast. He puts a hit on and then lets the other players clean them up. Yeah, he's got great line speed, right? But then Cotter will be that guy, because Cotter floats around the middle. He's going to be that guy who cleans up the prop who's lost all the momentum because Reed Marnie's run in and put a hit. So there could be an uptick in Ruben Cotter, and he could be that guy who just sticks in your team until Origin. Like,
yeah,
if I had to pick between him and Hopgood, and Cashmore was an option, I'll probably pick Hopgood just because he doesn't play Origin.
Higher upside as well.
Like, yeah, higher upside, yeah.
He doesn't break tackles, doesn't score tries, doesn't offload really. Like it's tackle. It's
but very simple. You could easily see him getting 50 tackles in a game somehow, and you're just like, oh yeah, that's Cotter things.
Especially with your read theory, like that was actually quite visceral. I kind of imagine that. Now, Kurt Donahue, this one's pretty easy. We saw what Kurt Donahue did last year when he got the opportunity. All this talk that Jerry Marshall-King is out for potentially 1 or 2 months at the start of the year. Max Plath is aiming for, I think it's round 4 at this stage. So aiming for round 4, it might be a bit later than that. But Kurt Donahue could be a big minute hooker to start the year. Not heaps of value at 560k, priced at a 44. Personally, I'm sort of fading this one, but I couldn't talk you out of this pod if you wanted to.
The hooker spot is very interesting, because you have like Harry Grant. We just talked about Robson as well. Blake Brayley in the previous video. I think it's just such a short time frame before Jeremy Marshall-King comes back. So Donahue doesn't have that like 8-week period to quickly make you 150k and then you can bail. Like, he has a 4-week period, and how much money is he going to earn in that 4-week period? Probably not that much. So it's probably a bit cold on Kurt Donahue at the moment.
I'm with you there. I agree. If he was 400k, you do it for the scoring, but it's not enough. Britton Nakora, 555k, not quite as cheap as you hoped for, but we talked about him pre-show, and I think the numbers for him, I'm trying to remember back the last 4 years, it's like a 52, a 49, and a 50, or something like that. So he's been that very consistent 50 average across a whole season. Now, that breaks down into a month where he averages 70, a month where he averages 14, a month where he doesn't make a tackle, like a month where he scores 16 tries. Like, it is so streaky, and personally, I'd rather wait for the 450k Britton Nakora that I know I'm going to get at some point this year. But again, we talk about the Titans matchup. It could be interesting here. I want a quick one from you. Hot, cold, warm. Where are you on Britain Nakora?
I'm cold. I just don't like the roller coaster. I'm looking for that stability for my forwards.
Ice cold.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to another Queensland legend here for you. Robbie Toya,
Oh.
Bobby Trees. For Rob Toya, look, first year in the league, averaged 43 points. That's pretty great pedigree there. A guy, I'm just thinking about someone who did that. Kailiro, for example. He was that guy who averaged 45 in his first year. Now, he didn't have many tries in his first year, and Rob Toya actually didn't have that many tries last year either. Kailiro came into his second year in a good side, the Sharks, similar to the Roosters, and feasted for tries. If Rob Toya adds try scoring to his defensive prowess, attacking work rate, and just general involvement, I mean, he could be that 50, 55 average, right? He's a guy who played Origin in his first year. So I don't have a clear, concise case to make here. But it's just a second year leap that I could see happening. Now, you're a bit more biased for your Queensland boys. So are you imagining this more detailed than I am? And do you think Rob Toya is going to be that 50 guy this year?
I think in the previous video, I said that the Roosters on paper have the potential to be similar to what the Dolphins were last year, where they were scoring massive amounts of points over small stretches of game. I think there was like 3 games in a row where the Dolphins scored 50 plus on a team. And the Roosters on paper have that ability. They went out, they signed Reece Robson and Daly Cherry Evans. The team looks better now. Robert Toya doesn't have to be defending as much because the team's better now. So now he might be able to attack a little bit more. I feel like there's potential for him to get that offensive upside. And he was picked in Origin for his defensive work rate, his overall work rate in the game. And if you add offensive prowess to that and you expect that the Rooster system will improve their players and make them work on their talents, which we kind of do expect, then there's a case for Rob Toya. Like it was his first year and he was good enough to play for Queensland. So and he held his own against some of the best. So there's definitely a case where he just keeps getting better. It's his first year, he's averaging 43 in the bad hooker spot. So let's go.
Yeah. I'll just throw some numbers at you here too. It was 7 tries in 21 games last year. So 7 tries in 21 games. Not a load of try assists. Only 0.8 offloads. So potentially that could increase. No guarantees. 111 run meters a game is. I think he could be better than that as well. Like, I can see some positive regression here. I cannot see him scoring less tries than that. I think that's his base try scoring rate. And you throw in like line breaks here, for example. He had a line break every 3rd game. I could see with Sam Walker and Daly Cherry Evans compared to who they start with in the halves. It was Sandon Smith and
it wasn't Savala. Savala came later.
Townsend. Yeah.
Townsend, yeah.
Yeah. So Sandon Smith, Chad Townsend when he came on, Sam Walker and Daly Cherry Evans right now. I can see it working, man. Like that's a
It's a huge upgrade. It's a huge upgrade.
Again, in draft leagues, I am drafting the hell out of Rob Toya. But do I pick him in a classic team? I mean, 552K. He's a bit boom or bust too, but in a different way. I'm actually kind of hot on this move. I've seen no one do it, by the way. So, this is the problem with this bloody video, man. Like you end up wanting to buy like 50 players. And yeah, the case of these, I'm warming on this, bro. I'm warming on this. I'm going to leave all my draft leagues for Rob Toya now. I think that's what's going to happen.
Do it.
Right. He's durable but he plays Origin. He's guaranteed to play Origin. And we'll keep rolling through. Morgan Knowles is another interesting option here. Look, most people don't know much about him. Fantasy doesn't even know what he looks like, but he's signed with the Dolphins, and there's a chance that he plays lock to start the year. There's a chance that he plays in the edge back row spot. I think he comes across from the Super League. He's 29 years old, right? So he's not a project. He's a more mature player. He's got some attacking ability. He's a solid ball runner. This Dolphins team has fed a bunch of tries through, and we saw Lemuelu last year in limited opportunities score a bunch of tries. So if they like Knowles, gets that edge back row spot, I like him a lot at 550K. If he plays in the middle forward rotation, I don't like that because they just have so many guys who are so good. And like Flegler's going to get more and more minutes as the year goes on. they'll get Max Plath back, who either pushes Donahue back to the middle or plays in the middle himself. So middle rotation, bad news. Edge back row, good news. I think he's a decent chance at edge back row because I think Gilbert is a good middle, like a really good middle, and a pretty garbage edge back rower. So this could work. I don't have him in my side right now, but if it somehow comes out, he's playing 80 minutes in the back row, we'll look at this one. Simple.
Agreed.
Now, Burton v. Galvin. This is the big debate. We talked about this for like half an hour pre-game, pre-recording. We cannot, and if anyone can tell us where they are, we cannot find the try assists for the Bulldogs. Like, who is throwing and kicking these try assists? Because we were going through all the players, and there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing from anyone. But I'm going to throw some numbers here because Burton and Galvin both averaged 42, 43 last year. One of them is going to be a 50 guy. Burton was a 54 a year ago. Galvin was a 52 a year ago. One of them has to bounce back. I'm certain of this happening. Now, for Matt Burton, let me get the numbers here. Starting at 5'8", when he played full games at 5'8", he had 1 try assist in 14 games last year. 1 try. Your premier half. I'm starting to understand why everyone's saying put him at center. But 1 try assist in 14 games. He had a few try assists when he played games where he got injured and at center and blah, blah, blah. But 1 in 14 games. Galvin had 3 in 12 games at the Bulldogs. So you're looking at 2 guys who have been... Burton's not as creative, but he has been a try assist every second game type of guy. And Galvin was, I think, 0.8. So, 4 try assists every 5 games, Galvin, the year before last. Mm-hmm. So one of them has to bounce back because you got Kickow running on one side there. Zeri's a solid option there too. On the other side, you have Preston, Stephen Crichton, Jacob Carraz. Yeah. Surely a try assist. I reckon I could get more than 1 try assist in that many games. I wouldn't survive the games, but just throw passes to Stephen Crichton. He'd score a few. Which one of these 2 do you see bouncing back? Like, what's your vision here, Turtles?
See, originally I thought Matt Burton, and then when we started going through all the numbers and the 2 of them combined ended up being less than 0.5 try assists a game. And I was like, where are these try assists coming from? Because the Doggies were a good team and you said they were like top 8 or something in try assists. I'm like, but who's getting all the try assists? It doesn't make sense.
Where are they? Where are the try assists? Not Reed Marnie.
I think, originally I said Burton, then I thought about it a little bit more since then. I was like, you know what? Maybe it's Galvin. Similar to my theory about like Blake Brayley and building that synergy with the team. Like, Galvin came in mid-year. Like, he hasn't had that preseason training. He hasn't had the connections that he could have. Like, a year does wonders for players, especially coming to a new team, getting used to their system, getting used to their strengths and weaknesses, and building on that and adding your own flavor to that. I feel like 12 games isn't enough for Galvin to kind of merge and sync with the team. Now that they get the preseason, I think he's going to grow a little bit more. He's got the talent. He's a very talented young player. So I think Galvin's probably the one out of the 2 to push into that 50 average mark.
Yeah, I like Galvin's my pick. I like Galvin too, because with Burton, numbers last year for run meters and for kick meters were very similar to the year before. It was a drop-off in attacking production, particularly in creating for others. And I think that Galvin's side is going to get more and more dominant in attack, especially in the red zone, because you go Galvin, Jacob Preston, the edge back row spot, Stephen Crichton at center, unless he goes to fullback and something changes there. But and then Carraz on the wing, who, Preston and Carraz have been recent breakout stars. And Stephen Crichton really only found his footing in attack last year. Now, the first year he was more of a defensive player. He really opened up in attack. So I think that edge is going to feast. And like you said, preseason is massive for them. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think Galvin could be good. He doesn't need big kick meters as well. Historically, his numbers have come through, more tackle breaks in particular. Didn't have many tackle breaks, didn't have many offloads, and some attacking plays. So I'm with you there. Apparently, he's been doing some sprint training in the offseason too. Apparently, he's faster than ever. But you're always yeah, so I'm with you. I think Galvin could be good. But Burton did average 55 2 years ago. So the pedigree is right there. And if you think they're a good team, he's the goal kicker probably for the Dogs. Like, yeah, both have potential, and both are guys that I'm I'm pretty keen on in draft leagues too, because they don't play Origin. They're usually pretty durable, so they should be solid. If you're enjoying this content and want to take your fantasy game to the next level, the Casual Crew is for you. It's a private community where diehard fantasy coaches share pods, trades, and strategies, pushing for the top spot. We've got multiple former winners in the group, as well as Turtles, Rob, Bergs, and the gang. And as an added bonus, I'm there to share stats, analysis, and answer all of your fantasy questions. Click the link in the description or use the QR code on my left to run a free trial of the cheapie and mid-ranger tier, or for serious coaches, jump straight into the Gun Society. I'll see you there. Now, Brian To'o, Paul Alamotti. I'll let you talk about To'o, and I'll talk about Alamotti here. So can you see a world that he has been, a 50 guy in the past? Can he bounce back to that, To'o, or is this just clutching it air?
I think he can. It was strange with the Panthers last year. They kept swapping Toto from the left side to the right side, but his work rate is the way he gets his points isn't just through scoring tries. He gets his tackle breaks, he gets his 200 meters run, he takes all the hit ups, and that's what the Panthers system did really, really well for a good 4 years until the best team actually dethroned him last year and kicked him out. But what's it called? We kicked him out in the finals, and no one else had to deal with him. What's it called?
You're gonna keep going, or
Brian To'o's work rate has to stay the same. He has to keep taking those hit ups. They relied heavily on their fullback and wingers to do all the yardage work and gave their forwards a little bit more of a break, and then they can work on the forwards can work on the defense a little bit more aggressively, and they weren't as fatigued. The Panthers want to prove to the rest of the NRL comp that last year was just a fluke. All right, we're coming back for the title. We're going back into premiership form. Yeah, we've lost a lot of players over the few years, but one of the stars that has been a shining light has been Brian To'o, and I feel like they're going to lean on him a little bit more now that they've identified, we're not the top team anymore. So our stars, you guys have to step up again. It's not going to come easy. You have to work for it. And I feel like Dylan Edwards, Brian To'o, they're more experienced players on that team compared to like Casey McLean or Tom Jenkins. The Brian To'o and Dylan Edwards, they're going to have to step up. The preseason is going to be all training. They're going to beat every single beep test until the beep is broken, right? And I think To'o can do it. He can do it. He's got the size for it. He's the tackle busting king, so he can do it. I believe he can be 50 average.
In fantasy, right? Like 10 points of value is kind of what you want here, right? So
yeah,
51, 52, yeah. Because he had that 1 year, I think he was like a 58 average, but that was in COVID ball 2021, so I don't really count that. So 50 is kind of his best year. You're needing a career best year from Brian To'o. That's the risk there, but I do see the vision, because if he gets hot at the right time and with a soft Broncos matchup round one as well, he should be pretty good. The other guy here I want to talk about on the wing is Paul Alamotti, and I have very little to say here, but Paul Alamotti, great young player, absolute powerhouse, very strong ball runner, very strong winger, a guy who's on the upward curve, right? But the big thing for him is he finished last year in the finals with an 86 and a 100 score. So he went meteoric down the stretch there, and he really took over that wing spot because it wasn't his spot for a lot of the year. He was dropped from the team, right? So if he continues that form, which is terrible logic, by the way, in fantasy, it is the worst logic. I'm just really pointing this out. When you see a guy finish strong, it never translates to the next year. So when we talk about Walsh at some point, not interested. But Alamotti, maybe we've uncovered something here where it's just he on the wing, he's figured it out and he's just unstoppable. It could be the case. I'm not arguing for it particularly strongly, but again, if you're playing in a draft league or something like that, center wing fullback, and I always demote these guys. If I think as a guy is going to be solid through the year and they're going to be reliable, probably not enough value for fantasy, I'll demote them to draft league pick. I think Alamotti is one of those really solid draft league picks. Now, jumping across to South Sydney to finish things off here, Jamie Humphries, Jai Gray. Do you want to talk about Jamie Humphries? Because I remember you had a lot of faith in him as he was plotting out 19, 26, 31, 22 last year, and you were losing that bet to Rob KFC. So let's hear your retro justification on Humphries and why he's the best option in the world this year. And then we'll caveat it with things.
Well, I was very high on him because I started the year with him, and he started the year bloody amazing. He got like 70s and 60s, and he did it with ease. It wasn't like anything crazy special and getting three field goals a game or something. Like it wasn't anything crazy. He was getting 30 tackles a game as a half. He had huge kick meters because he was the dominant kicker and he was the goal kicker. Uh, and then that just somehow translated to 60 to 70 points every game for the first 4 or 5 games. And then by round 2 or 3, everyone started jumping on. They're like, oh, wait, he's going to do this every single game. Okay, I have to buy him. And then what happens is Rabbits start getting their players back, Cody Walker, Latrell Mitchell. And then before we did this recording, we looked at Jamie Humphries' stats with and without Latrell Mitchell, and it was like a 15 or 16 point difference. It was something like huge.
30, bro. Like it was massive.
Yeah, it was a massive point difference.
It's like 25 versus 60 or something. Like it was absurd.
My Jamie Humphries, if I had to pick him this year as a super pod, is purely based on whether Latrell Mitchell starts this year, because there's currently a whole bunch of rumors David Fifita and Latrell Mitchell are going to be injured, but there's also rumors that are saying that they're going to be back by preseason or they're going to be there for round 1. But this far out, we're like a month out from the first game. I can easily see some other injury happening in a world where Latrell Mitchell isn't starting. Jamie Humphries might be that guy again. He might be that guy. He's a big body. He tackles. He can play in the middle because he's a big body. And he's not a half who's afraid to tackle. And if you have 30 tacklers in your base, and then you add in your kick meters and you add in your normal half stuff and throw in goal kicking, it's very easy to get a 50, 60, 70 point average, which he did. He literally did that last year. The first 4 rounds, he was getting 60s and 70s for fun. It could happen.
I'll add 3 points to this as well. Three additional points. So for and I'm going to add biased for Jamie Humphries points. I'm not starting with him, by the way. So before I start this argument, sort of caveat. First one, Brandon Smith is probably the starting hooker there. I don't know if they run a bench hooker. I think they might run like an Ashton Ward on the bench or someone like that because they really like Ashton Ward. So potentially Ward comes on and Humphries goes to hooker, in which case he makes like a tackle per set there, right? Like there was a game last year he played a bit of hooker. He had like 45 tackles. He played half the game at hooker. It was absolutely massive. So if that rotation happens, Humphries is very interesting to me. 2, potentially with Latrell Mitchell playing center this year. Latrell plays like a real center, doesn't kick the ball, maybe doesn't even goal kick. And Jamie Humphries does all that stuff. And Latrell focuses on running the ball. Because what we saw last year was Latrell play some good games, but he didn't run the ball. He didn't break tackles. And he didn't do the stuff that he's the best at. So if I was their coach, which I'm not at Wayne Bennett's level in age or talent or anything really, but pretty fast than Wayne Bennett, over 100 meters. But I reckon he has me over 5Ks. But yeah, look, if I was doing that, I'd probably say to Latrell, hey, go play center, bro. Run the ball 150 meters a game. Make 5 offloads a game. Go watch what Herbie Farmworth does and try to do a bit of that. And then just be a weapon in the red zone and let Jamie Humphries play half. Because this whole Latrell kind of playing half thing is not working. And the third case I'd make here is that Jamie Humphries is a super talented young player. Last year was his first year in first grade. He had a total mess of a year at South Sydney who were all over the place. And they look good this year. It's a good forward pack. It's a team that's loaded with talent on the edge. And maybe Jamie Humphries is just a way better player this year. Like maybe he starts his young arc of improving. Now that really relies on you really believing in the talent for Jamie Humphries. So there's 3 cases you could make for Jamie Humphries just off the top of my head. There's a lot of reasons you could like him. He's going to be pretty cheap in draft leagues again. it's sort of demoting him to that, but he'll be cheap in draft leagues. So if you do want to take a speculator, I actually quite like him for that proposition. And the other one here is Latrell Mitchell, obviously playing at center is the talk of the town preseason. And the fact that he already has a soft tissue injury probably really reaffirms that he plays center this year. If Jai Gray stays at fullback, he was I think it was a 46 average last year when he played full games at fullback, regardless of whether Latrell was playing or not. So priced at a 39, you get a 46 average last year and a South team that was much worse than what it is this year. What's that? That's like 7 points of value, right? And you throw an improvement potential there too. He averaged 200 meters a game. So there's no shortage of work rate for Jai Gray. You throw in an improvement in the attacking stats. I think it was a try and a try assist every 3rd game. So if you add more, maybe some support running there, where he scores some easy tries under the post and he's suddenly a 50 average. Now, it's not easy to get 50 average at wing fullback, but Jai Gray at 500k could potentially be 10 points of value. So if he starts at fullback and South Sydney look half decent coming into the year, I'm probably jumping on Jai Gray.
I think the wing fullback, yeah, it's very hard to get players who average really well because it's such a tricky spot to get a good average. But I feel like the Rabbits on paper are better this year, which means they're going to have a little bit more ball. Maybe they'll have a little bit more possession and more attacking stats going, and everyone's going to look at that left side and be like, "Oh, we have this crazy attack going on." You have David Fee, Latrell Mitchell, Alex Johnson, and Cody Walker. This opens opportunity for Jai Gray to be a little bit more creative on the right side. He can get involved in that left side as well. It frees him up a little bit more because they have such big attacking weapons on the left. They could be focusing all their attack on that side. It's like Jai Gray, sorry, has great footwork on him. He could easily take the ball right and see what he can do with Campbell Graham. Like I feel like it creates more options by having such a strong dominant edge.
Yeah.
So,
yep, agree, man. Also running support, bro. Like those guys can offload. So
yeah.
Dave Feener has had plenty of try assists in his career. Latrell Mitchell is a try assist fiend, right? So Jai Gray could be in a great position here. Now, guys, that is 600k to 500k video done. Just a little preview here for the next group. Flegler comes back this year. We're going to talk about him. He was a monster. Halasima potentially getting the starting back row spot. Chris Randall, talk that he's going to start at lock. We'll talk about that. Jerome Luai took a big hit last year. Could be a pod. And then Casey McLean, who dominated the internationals. So bit of a preview to our next video. But for now, that's us done and dusted 500, 600k. Let us know, guys, who you want to buy out of this list. And Turtles, mate, thanks for jumping on. It's been an absolute blast having this back with you.
All good, mate. It's good to be here. Let's get into this fantasy, yo.